by Ioannis Gatsiounis, August 21, 2019, 6:55 p.m. Eastern Time. President Trump greets supporters in Manchester, New Hampshire, August 15. Photo, Jonathan Ernst. Reuters I'd love to see Donald Trump beaten in 2020, and it should be easy enough. His list of accomplishments is short. Most Americans express strong disapproval of his behavior, and he has done little to win over people who don't already support him. Yet he stands a good chance of re-election. 1 in 5 registered voters is up for grabs in 2020, according to a Washington Post ABC News poll, while Mr. Trump's approval rating among independents has risen from 35% to 42% since June, according to an NPR, PBS NewsHour, Marist poll. What gives? I blame my fellow liberals. Rather than figuring out a way to beat an unpopular president in 2020, most have spent the past 2.5 years blaming everyone but themselves, Hillary Clinton, Russia, the Electoral College, white supremacists, and expecting to win on the strength of their hatred without putting together a winning coalition. Part of the problem lies with the unpopular positions prominent Democrats have taken, from decriminalizing unauthorized border crossings to banning private health insurance. The main problem, though, has less to do with policy than with attitude. To many ordinary Americans we appear unhinged, haughty and out of touch. What can we do to change? First, stop obsessing over identity. We can and should support policies that benefit disadvantaged groups, from criminal justice reform to a higher minimum wage and affordable health care. But our tendency to insert race, sex and sexual orientation into everything gives the impression that we are more committed to narrow groups than Americans as a whole. Second, change the Manichaean outlook. Liberals increasingly tend to shame and cancel anyone who doesn't conform to our thinking on complex social issues. We wield political correctness like a club. It's been well documented that voters in 2016 saw Trump as an antidote to political correctness, and it isn't only conservatives. 80% of Americans, including 3/4 of blacks and more than 80% of Asian Americans, Hispanics and American Indians, disapprove of political correctness. Third, cultivate a fuller understanding of justice. Our fanatical embrace of the oppressor-victim narrative finds us quick to assign guilt or innocence based on narrow identity markers like race and sex, seeing women as always victims, men as always aggressors, minorities and immigrants as by definition innocent. We've rightly drawn attention to disparities in everything from police brutality to mortgage lending, but we've become reckless in the process. Think of the way progressives believed Jussie Smollett's preposterous hate crime claim and condemned Al Franken without evidence. Fourth, progressives need to be progressive, pluralistic rather than tribal, compassionate rather than hateful, thoughtful rather than reactive. Progressive has become a dirty word to many Americans, more closely associated with intolerance and double standards than with free thought and due process. Fifth, those who work in the media need to stop abusing their authority. I am grateful for rigorous investigative work that uncovers Mr. Trump's abuses of power. But there's a reason so many Americans think much of the media is fake news. The left-of-center figures who populate it stop at nothing to demonize their political enemies. This is a shame because our side's media is basically alone in drawing attention to pressing issues like corruption, climate change and income inequality. We'll have a better time reaching people when our approach to delivering the news is more credible. We liberals have hidden behind our professed goodness and lost our capacity for self-criticism. We've insisted that everyone else adapt to a changing world but have refused to adapt ourselves. If we don't change, we'll continue to inspire more suspicion than hope, and pay a price for it in 2020 and beyond. Gatsiounis is an Austin-based writer who reports on race and politics. Who survived their second debate? Image, Getty. Copyright 2019 Dow Jones. All rights reserved. 87,990 CBE 856-818D5 EDAC 44C7 B1 CD B8 Let's block ads. Why?